What's up, YouTube? What's good with it and all that good stuff? It's your girl, Keisha Peterson, here with another, not a video, I guess this is a live or whatever, but this is Testimony Tuesday. And I am here live on Periscope TV, um, ready to share a testimony with the world, okay? Um, Periscope TV at DJ K Love Philly Queen. So I'm going to jump into Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. And I'm going to read chapter 4. Purpose Driven Life is a book that was given to me when I was in jail by one of my cellmates. Her name was Hope. So I'm very, grateful to my jail visit, my many jail visits, but this last jail visit actually saved my life. Okay. If you don't know me, I am 5 years clean from drugs, street drugs, and jail saved my life. So with that being said, I'm here on these platforms to kind of share my testimony, with the world in hopes that my testimony can help change someone's life or save, someone's life, or at least help someone to get through their trials and tribulations. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. I encourage you. Hey, Lee. I encourage you to, if God has ever brought you through something, if God has ever, if you can testify to us about something God has, brought you through or helped you to overcome something, please feel free to share your testimony with the world. I will be taking live calls, so feel free to just tap that button right there that says phone call or whatever. I don't know how it works, but just tap that button when I, take the live calls, and then you can, chime on in and share with us, what God has brought you through. So with that being said, I'm going to jump right on into chapter 4, Purpose Driven Life, which is titled Made to Last Forever. This life is not all there. This life is not all there is. Life on earth is just the dress rehearsal before the real production. You will spend far more time on the other side of death in eternity than you will here. Earth is the staging area, the preschool, the tryout for your... Coco, please be quiet. Thank you. Earth is the staging area, the preschool, the tryout. You hear her tripping? The tryout for your life and eternity. It is the practice workout before the actual game, the warm-up lap before the race begins. This life in preparation for the next. At most, you will live 100 years on earth, but you will spend forever in eternity. Your time on earth is, as Sir Thomas Browne said, but a small parenthesis in eternity. You were made to last forever. The Bible says God has planted eternity in the human heart. You have an inborn instinct that longs for immortality. This is because God designed you in his image to live for eternity. Even though we know everyone eventually dies, death seems unnatural and unfair. My little book is just all falling apart, y'all. I'm hanging on to this book for dear life, okay? So don't be laughing at my book. Look, I'm ready to just take it out and just look. Don't be laughing, y'all. Ain't nobody got time for all that. One day, the reason we feel we should live forever is that God wired our brains with that desire. One day your heart will stop beating. That will be the end of your body and your time on earth. But it will not be the end of you. That's why it's very important to make the best of your life while you are living, okay? Because once your time here on earth is up, people still have memories of you. So, you want to make, you know what I'm saying, people's memories, be good, Your earthly body is just a temporary resident for your spirit. The Bible calls your earthly body a tent, but refers to your future body as a house. The Bible says, when this tent we live in, our body here on earth, is torn down, God will have a house in heaven for us to live in. A home he himself has made, which will last forever. While life on earth offers many choices, eternity offers only two: heaven or hell. Your relationship to God on earth will determine your relationship to him in eternity. If you learn to love and trust God's Son, Jesus, you will be invited to spend the rest of eternity with him. On the other hand, if you reject his love, forgiveness, and salvation, you will spend eternity apart from God forever. So that's what we're going to talk about here today. Hey, sis. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about, the importance of forgiveness, but at the same time, how hard it is to forgive. And that's something that I'm torn in between is, forgiveness. But, we'll touch on that a little further. C.S. Lewis said, there are two kinds of people: those who say to God, they will be done, and those to whom God says, all right then, have it your way. Tragically, many people will have to endure eternity without God because they chose to live without him here on earth. When you fully comprehend that there is more to life than just here and now, and you realize that life is just preparation for eternity, you will begin to live differently. You will start living in light of eternity, and that will color how you handle every relationship, task, and circumstance. Suddenly, many activities, goals, and even problems that seem so important will appear trivial, petty, and unworthy of your attention. Facts. The closer you live to God, the smaller everything else appears. Facts. When you live in light of eternity, your values change. You use your time and money wisely. You place a higher premium on relationships and character instead of fame or wealth or achievements or even fun. Your priorities are reordered. Keeping up with trends, fashions, and popular values just doesn't matter as much anymore. Paul said, I once thought all these things were so very important, but now I consider them worthless because of what Christ has done. If your time on earth were all there is to your life, I would suggest you start living it up immediately. You could forget being good and ethical, and you wouldn't have to worry about any consequences of your actions. You could indulge yourself in total self-centeredness because your actions would have no long-term repercussions. But, and this makes all the difference, death is not the end of you. And this makes all the difference. Death is not the end of you. Death is not your termination, but your transition into eternity. So There are eternal consequences to everything you do on earth. Every act of our lives strikes some chord that will vibrate in eternity. The most damaging aspect of contemporary living is short-term thinking. To make the most of your life, you must keep the vision of eternity continually in your mind and the value of it in your heart. There's far more to life than just here and now. Today is the visible tip of the iceberg. Eternity is all the rest you don't see underneath the surface. What is it going to be like in eternity with God? Frankly, the capacity of our brains cannot handle the wonder and greatness of heaven. It would be like trying to describe the internet to an ant. Words have not been invented that could possibly convey the experience of eternity. The Bible says, no mere man has ever seen, heard, or even imagined what wonderful things God has ready for those who love the Lord. However, God has given us glimpses of eternity in His Word. We know that right now God is preparing an eternal home for us in heaven. We will be reunited with loved ones who are believers, released from all pain and suffering, rewarded for our faithfulness on earth, and reassigned to do that we will enjoy what we will enjoy doing. We won't lie around on clouds with halos playing harps. We will enjoy unbroken fellowship with God, and He will enjoy us for an unlimited, endless forever. One day, Jesus will say, come, you who are blessed by my Father. Take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. C.S. Lewis captured the concept of eternity on the last page of the Chronicles of Narnia, his 7-book children's fiction series. For us, this is the end of all the stories, but for them, it was only the beginning of the real story. All their life in this world had only been the cover and the title page. Now, at last, they were beginning chapter 1 of the great story, which no one on earth has read, which goes on forever, and in which every chapter is better than the one before. God has a purpose for your life on earth, but it doesn't end here. His plan involves far more than the few decades you will spend on this planet. It's more than the opportunity of a lifetime. God offers you an opportunity beyond your lifetime. The Bible says God's plans endure forever. His purposes last eternally. The only time most people think about eternity is at funerals. Facts. And then it's often shallow, sentimental thinking based on ignorance. You may feel it's morbid to think about death, but actually it's unhealthy to live in denial of death and not consider what is inevitable. Only a fool will go through life unprepared for what we all know will eventually happen. You need to think more about eternity, not less. Just as the 9 months you spent in your mother's womb were not an end in themselves but preparation for life, so this life is preparation for the next. If you have a relationship with God, through Jesus, you don't need to fear death. It is the door to eternity. It will be the last hour of your time on earth, but it won't be the last of you. Rather than being the end of your life, it will be your birthday into eternal life. The Bible says, this world is not our home. We are looking forward to our everlasting home in heaven. Measured against eternity, our time on earth is just a blink of an eye, but the consequences of it will last forever. The deeds of this life are the destiny of the next. We should be realizing that every moment we spend in these earthly bodies is time spent away from our eternal home in heaven with Jesus. Years ago, a popular slogan encouraged people to live each day as the first day of the rest of your life. Actually, it would be wiser to live each day as if it were the last day of your life. Matthew Henry said, "It ought to be the business of every day to prepare for our final day." So now, like I said, I was given this book in jail when I was incarcerated. So I took some notes here. So I haven't, it's been 6 years since I've been out of jail. So I'm just going to read my little notes that I took real quick. I should stop living in, oh, look at that. I should stop living in fornication and be married legally so God can be proud of me. Everything else falls into place. Wow. You know what? Okay, God, you are something else. You are something else. So that's what you want me to talk about? Wow. Okay, so God just set me up for, I thought I was about to be talking about something else, but now I feel obligated to share the testimony that I just experienced the other day. Oh my goodness, God, I can't believe you get ready to do this. So, all right, so I'm not married legally, okay? So I've been, well, by law, we are legal because it's by law here in my state, they acknowledge what's it called, common law or whatever. But before the eyes of God, and I'm gonna be honest here. I'm gonna be quite honest here, because I feel like I'm being placed on the spot. I really, really honestly am confused about the whole thing, the situation that I'm in as far as my marriage. Like, seriously. So I've been with my husband for 26 years, okay? So, now I also spent 20 years using street drugs. Okay. I got high for 20 years, which led me to jail. And in turn, I started living after, I did that little bid that I had to do. So if it was not for that bid that I did, I probably would still be running around getting high because the truth of the matter is, until like I stated last night, you getting high, there's only 3 ways out of getting high. And that is 1, mental institution, jail, or death. That's it. Okay? If you don't walk out on your own, which is once you're caught, once you're sucked in, it's kind of almost impossible to do without mental institution, jail, or death. Let's be clear. Okay, 20 years I took getting high, poisoning my body. 20 years. So so I said that to say, when he proposed to me with the diamond ring, guess what happened? I lost it because I was getting high. And what happened was, he proposed to me with a diamond ring, and I lost so much weight that one day the ring slipped off my finger. And I went to go look at my ring, and my ring was gone. And he was devastated because he had never spent that much money, even on himself, that he spent on that ring. So now, if I was not running around getting high, we would have gotten married, But then I think about that, and I think, well, if that would have happened, I honestly believe that I would be divorced by now. I honestly believe we would have gotten married and then we would be divorced today. But no, we're still together 26 years later. So sometimes I get confused because I'm like, okay, and I have this conversation with God often. Okay, so now let me tell you what happened the other day. So this was just what's today? Tuesday, on Sunday. So every now and then, I go through something as far as having sex. Okay. So, every now and then I'll shut it down. Like, you know what? No, this I can't do this. We're not married. We never got married. But then it's kind of hard, because it's like, okay, I definitely know for a fact that God would not, that I definitely know that this is the man that I'm supposed to be with for eternity. Okay. I feel that. And I feel like God would not have me with this man for 26 years if this wasn't the man that God, sent here for me. I know for a fact that God sent this man here for me. I already know that. But how am I supposed to look at the sex part about it? So let me tell you what happened the other day. So I was going through something, and, I was like, I ain't going to be able to do it no more. I ain't going to be able to have no sex, until we are legally married. But then I can't say legally because by law, we are legally married. God, by law, that's my husband and I'm his wife. So we are legally married. Yeah. Does anybody understand? Like, I don't know. So every now and then, though, I go through my thing and I'm like, well, I'm not having sex. I'm not, fornicating, and, I'm not fornicating, anymore. So Sunday, I felt that on my spirit. But I was like, what I'm saying? I felt it on my spirit, and I was like, even though I felt it, I was like, you know what? I talked to God about it. And once again, I felt like God was like, it's okay. I felt like he's saying to me, it's, you're okay. Half and half. If that even makes any sense. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So now check this out. So I pondered upon it, like all night. And then that next morning, my husband just got a new position on his job, which requires him to work out of state. So therefore, he has to travel, out of state to actually, work or whatever for the time being. So therefore, he has to, he's going during the week. So I'm like, oh God, I can't have this man, in another state, or, you know what I mean? All horny and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Right? So I'm like, what do I do? So then check this out. So I was like, all right. So I pondered about it. I pondered on it, and I was like, all right, well, I felt like, I was, I felt like we was okay. So I was all ready and prepared, to get it on, do our thing, do my thing. And then check this out. Something happened that never happened before. This man was like, now, mind you, I had been talking to God about it all night. I'm thinking about that. I know he got to leave tomorrow. And I'm like, should I or should I not? Should I not? Then I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead. And guess what the man said? The man was like, babe, I ain't even going, I don't, he was like, no, this is exactly what he said. He said, babe, I just want to hold you. I just want to hold you. I don't want to do it. I just want to hold you. I'm like, am I dreaming? Like, I'm like, wow. Wow. Okay. What is going on? In my mind. I'm like, wow, God, like what? Wow. Okay. So after, or whatever, he left or whatever. I'm like, God, thank you for that. Like, oh my God, like, thank you. But then I'm like, okay, Coco, would you please be quiet? What is you saying? What are you talking about? So I'm like, wow, thank you, God. I guess I don't, that was on my mind all night. And then just like that, that happened. So, I don't really know what to make of it, or, I don't really know. Oh, and so I did have but this was, okay. So then I was like, yeah. So then I got a little attitude with him, and I was like, yeah. So, now mind you, this man get ready to leave and, go on, go on his week's work. So I'm like, well, yeah. So what are we, going to be doing now again, as far as getting married or whatever. So he said that I need to get my credit and stuff together. He has A1 credit and, and everything. And I'm the broke one with no credit, no money and no credit. Right. So he said, I got to get my credit together before. He said, because if he marries me, then, that's he's taking on my bad credit or something he was saying about the credit. So I'm just like, wow, oh, okay, or whatever, right? But then, at the same time, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess, that makes sense, because, when you're married, you're considered one, right? So I'm like, all right, well, that makes sense. So now I know, what I have, now I know what I got to do. I got to, right, I have to, work on that or whatever. So, so that was that. So, like I said, I can't believe that I had no intentions on sharing that particular testimony with y'all. So with that being said, no, you could file separate. Oh, you could file. I'm sure it's some kind of way around it, or whatever. But I'm like, okay, I guess, that I don't know or whatever. You said you could file separate, but I mean, okay. So anyway, so that was that part testimony. So I just feel like, I got that out the way. So what do you guys think about that? What are your thoughts as far as that is concerned? Because can anybody relate? Do you think I'm going to go to hell if if we indulge in any love making before the papers is actually signed? If I was to die today, which I know I'm just putting it out there, but I know, you know what I'm saying? I God, he knows my heart. And honestly, guys, I honestly feel like that is the only thing. Like, we all sin and fall short. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's never, I don't care what the situation is. Ain't nobody ever going to be perfect. But I kind of, almost feel like, okay. So I honestly feel like there's two things that are holding me back, from being, I'm not even going to say perfect, because I don't even desire to be perfect. Okay. That's okay. Okay. So, but I feel like the two things that, like my cursing, I know I have a problem with cursing, and, I'm in conversations with God as far as that's concerned, as far as my cursing and just fornicating. So fornicating and cursing is my, shortcomings. And oh, thank you, love. Thank you. So what are you guys, what are your thoughts? But I'm going to stop this YouTube right here, and I'll thank you guys for checking out this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And to my Periscope viewers, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I'm not going to be coming on this Periscope live. I will be eventually just strictly going live on over here on my YouTube channel. I ain't really got time to be over here with this Periscope, nonsense. So if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so at Keisha Peterson, Peterson. And if you're not, and follow me on Instagram, same name here, DJ K Love, Philly Queen, because this Periscope thing is about to be over. So thank you guys. Until next time, have a great, fantastic rest of your day.